On the plough to steer the plough and to steer. The most important there will be a sort of accommodation in a towable van behind it where the most important will make the tea, and that's correct, I believe, isn't it?
Yeah, the whole tackle would be the front engine with a plough behind it, which is what the bar on the back of the tender is for, that tows the plough behind it. The second engine would take the living wagon, and then with the tackle you'd have a water cart to feed him all day, and a whole load of equipment, and obviously you've got other cultivators and tools and stuff that go with it. So a whole tackle repair engine is a lot of equipment.
Well, thank you very much for that, Andy, and I can see another big engine coming round here. We'll probably get the prospect of what will happen in here today, and I'll just see one twin this massive engine. There we are, we have coming round the bottom end of the arena near the engine. There we are, coming round here now. There we are. Now, there we go. What a good sign like that. This engine was part of the first engine, the cylinders, steam, mechanical organ collection, the rest, and the late part of the cylinder filtered was 75,000. But when it came to the steam roller, virtually a scratch manual of the steam roller. Participation in the tug of war. There we are, the tug of war with the steam engine. You can see in the arena we have coming down already the little 3-ton Wallace tractor. It was made in Basingstoke in 1972. From the road rolling on that road in 1961 when it was purchased by my late father, which was for £75. Weighs 10 tons. There we are. Top end of the arena. It's heavy. But the one behind the steam roller is called a foul steam engine, not a fowler, a foul, and they were made in St Ives. That would be roughly, I think, 1910, somewhere there.
It's going where it wants to. Downhill to be better.
Very large steam ploughing engine. There we are. That's a B1, weighs 22 tons, and if you come along to our show in October, you will see the B1s, and we have a ploughing in the adjacent fields with the steam plough and the steam threshing. All happening in October at the Village Centre. And then we have our second show. It's probably an agricultural-based show, not like this one in the steam fair. All the machines being Josh is going to bring the rope in, aren't you, Josh? There we are, they're all going out anyhow. Who's in the arena? Make way for, ladies and gentlemen, I think. Lunch for them to the first time for a number of years, Mr. Trinidad and the local Ashburn company. In your back garden in the shed, and you only need a little trailer to put them on. Whereas the larger steam engines, you've got to have great big low loaders and things to transport them all. End of the day, that's where it was. And Josh is going to bring in the covered railroad. A different brand altogether again. And this is a Foster traction engine. Probably one of the last ones built, Foster traction engine. As you can see, it's still got iron wheels, the strokes on the wheels, and served by You've probably seen holding the traffic up as he's going along with a caravan on the back. This one, the Fowler, and is the Crown Steam Haulage Company. There we are. This is a timber tractor. It goes on the road, it will haul timber, logs and purchased 2 weeks ago.
On your right!
And they roaded it home to Stotfold by road straight away. It's been rumoured that something probably this afternoon there's only a challenge for them. I don't know what it's after. We'll probably find out if it's
Was there only from River Drive,
mill was just across the way there, which was bought just for £1 as a burned out red years ago, and ended up worth about £2.25 million. It's fully restored, as you can see, but there's some work going on the chimney, and we'll talk about that.
There we are. On behalf of this chap up here, and to 1925, 1930, in the fairground, running the big rides and that, with the special bit on the front. There's a great parade out of the arena. Thank you very much for coming in. Got a couple of BMGs here. We can keep back to do the tug of war.
Thank you. It's a very good visit. Yeah.
It won't be like, you get earlier next time, tomorrow. Hopefully we won't do it tomorrow.
One off.
Machine drivers, this is the arena, please. Thank you. Thank you for starting to move. You ride a quad on 2 wheels. wheels, ladies and gentlemen. Very nicely controlled there.
I know that he's not going.
And you normally find, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, when they're learning this stunt, people can only turn left, as young Anthony is doing now. And the reason they turn left is because there's a feeling of security, because you can put it down onto the two wheels. But if you can go right, as he's doing now, ladies and gentlemen, that is a lot more difficult. It might look the same to you, but I can assure you, turning right when you're on the right hand side. Ladies and gentlemen, because Connor and Aaron are actually cousins, so we're keeping it in the family, and that's how you do a wheelie. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you've seen wheelies before. Now, most people do what they call a power wheelie, just using the power of the machine to keep the front wheel in the air. This is not a power wheelie, this is called a balance wheelie, and it's a lot more difficult. So you're going to take it up to the point of balance and then control that with the throttle and with the brake. Ladies and gentlemen, you can see actually every time he dabs that brake, because the brake light does work on this machine. He's dabbing it all the time. It gets a little bit high. They just dab it just to bring it back down, and then just use the throttle again to get it back up to the point of balance again. It is still up. It was a wave, wasn't it? Give him a wave as he comes down, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I'll tell you, this is the fact, ladies and gentlemen, when the motorcycle changes direction, there's a force of 4 tons for a fraction of a second, right about... Okay. Let's see, I can't think what could possibly go wrong here. Oh dear! He accidentally wound the throttle on and covered him in dirt. Ladies and gentlemen, young Anthony! Nice. The van and the quad. There we go. Oh, can't stop! Yes, I can. Just kidding. Take it over. Gentlemen, we've got to stop to the side. There you go. Oh, yes, give a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Head first, and if they landed head first, they would, I hate to say that, but they would actually go straight through the bag, and feet first would do the same. So they go head first, and then they rotate onto the back at the last minute to spread the weight of the bigger end. Here we go. Just waiting for that wind just to die down a little bit. You can see it rocking. You can actually see the whole thing rocking. Here it comes, ladies and gentlemen. Is he okay? Is he okay? I know. That takes a lot of bottle. That last 8 feet makes a big difference. Okay? We'll go in. He's ready, ladies and gentlemen. I'll just keep talking. I'm not going to let him go. We'll go when he feels right. This is Dodgy One.